So you download MultiVersus, you're excited, you're like, let me get my character, ooh, this character looks nice. You then realize there's no way to try a character before you buy one. You're like, psh, I know this character's gonna be for me, let me buy this character. And you realize it's horrible and it was a horrible decision and you can't refund it and now you're out 3,000 currency or $10 if you paid. That's a really high price. You're like, screw this, I'm never buying a character again, I'm sticking with Shaggy. Well, don't worry, this video is for you. I'm gonna briefly talk about each character, what they do, how they play, and I'm also gonna do you one better. I'm gonna put a link down in the description below of a video that showcases all the abilities and what the characters do. That way you can combine that video with this video and have a better educated guess on who you wanna purchase. So the first character on this list is Agent Smith. I haven't seen any videos on him, so I'm not gonna place him and I'm not gonna talk about him. I wanna be surprised when I get my hands on him, so again, not talking about him. All right, so next up is Jason. So Jason's interesting. Now, the first things first, how does WB put a killer inside of a game full of cartoons and makes it work is beyond me. They did a great job, and I love that they kept the essence of the real Jason. It's insane to me. One thing about Jason is, yes, he's very tanky and he's very hard to knock out, but also he's very slow. Now, movement speed in this game is similar across the board in my opinion. I think that it is, I haven't tested it. It's just the bigger you are, the slower you look walking, but you're not actually slower movement speed wise. But as far as execution on your abilities, you are slower. And so with Jason, he is slower, but he has a lot of great tools at his disposal. We're gonna place Jason in minigame 1 + 1 = 2. Now, when I say minigame 1 + 1 = 2, this means that the character needs to press 2 buttons in order for them to work. Basically, you don't have any intuitive combos. Not just one of your buttons are gonna do things and make things happen. He is gonna have to combine certain skills and abilities for him to actually like pop off. And so that's one of the downsides with Jason. He pretty much functions the exact same in a 1v1 scenario and a 2v2 scenario. However, in a 1v1 scenario, he's way more punishable than he is in a 2v2 scenario. I will say a lot of what Jason does is very easy to execute though. So if you're looking for a beefy monster and you like the fact that it's Jason, come on, you can't go wrong with that. Definitely give Jason a try. He's not a bad character. The next character on the chopping block is the Banana Guard. Now, look, bro. So this character can KO you. If you're an assassin, you don't even get to play the game. Let's be honest, he KOs you at 10%. No, for real. But he has such high KO potential without working out. The man don't even need to lift weights. On top of his KO potential, he actually has something called a disjointed hitbox. If you don't know what a disjointed hitbox is, let me tell you. This is where a character can stick out and be safe while attacking you. Whenever he does a sideways move, he pokes the spear out and you can't hit him at all unless you're under him, above him, or behind him. I can easily put this guy at bro. He actually has a perk that also allows him to do more damage. What? Why? If you like a character like that, this is the character for you. Like, this character is one of the most straightforward characters in the game. Now, the downside to him is that in a 1v1 scenario, yes, he is easy to exploit because you kind of already know what he's gonna do. But again, it's one of those situations where like, if he touches you, you die. And so, so that's why he's hard to play against. If you factor in 2v2, where it's the most chaotic, you have to keep a track of abilities, your character, their character, your teammate's character, you start to lose track of the Banana Guard very easily. This means that he's gonna have an easier time landing all their hits. This is a great character if you love to play with someone and you like 2v2s. You will win most of your games. The worst part about this though, is that almost everybody that plays the Banana Guard know that this is BS. No, a lot of them will do the same thing over and over and over. They'll run away, start working out, and just spam and do the same thing over and over. That doesn't mean you can't beat them, but the thing is, if they happen to win, they want to BM and they want to taunt. It's like my mans. You ain't do nothing but press one button and win a match. I'm not salty, I'm a little emotional, I'm sorry, but bro. The next character that we have is the Joker. Now, the Joker is actually very interesting, and I really like this character, but I hate this character. And he has kind of something similar as a disjointed hitbox, but another thing that makes Joker kind of an issue is the fact that a lot of his attacks are delayed. Also, his up air has a little bit of hang time. I don't know if that's just like the servers, but I'd never experienced this issue on any other character but Joker. It could possibly be because the way that his body moves, but Joker is very like weird, and a lot of what he does is unconventional. This is why this character actually works, because he's not what you expect when you go against him, and every single time you go against him, it's always a little something different based off who's playing the character. Joker is a great character if you really just like the Joker as a person, but also a character that likes to be deceiving. If you like to be deceptive, if you like to have the enemy always guessing, like, what is he gonna do next? This is a great character, and he's very safe, and he's very fun to play, and he has a lot of damage. He's not the only character like that, so I wouldn't sink 6,000 gems into him unless you really like the Joker, but he is a good buy if you do happen to buy the character. Joker is one of those characters where you can just pick a button and it'll work. So the mini game Pick a Button is basically a character that you just need to press one button and it'll work. Usually you'll have a great outcome regardless of which button you press. You don't need to put things together, you don't need to string things together. As long as you press one button, it should work. He has a great dash attack, he has a great neutral attack, he has a great up air, he has a great special, he's a great everything. This character just, if you're in a 2v2 scenario, it's further exacerbated. It's very hard to win a game against the Joker regardless, so it's gonna be even harder to win in a 2v2 scenario with a whole bunch of crap going on. So again, a great character. If you wanna play a mage and not have to put too much work and thought process into that character, by all means, Joker is that character. The next character that we have is Marvin. Now Marvin got a special place in my heart. No, because Marvin is one of those characters that like look troll and you don't want to give them a try because they look troll. But like if you try them, it's like they're cracked. That's how Marvin is. He actually has an insane kit. He's an amazing character, but he looks so troll. It's like, why try him? But he is a great character. So Marvin's an assassin. Assassins usually are the lighter weight characters and they will be launched a lot easier than all the other classes. But he is an assassin, but he's like a ranged assassin. So the thing about most assassins is that their recovery on what they do is very quick. They're very limitless in terms of potential. You can pretty much do whatever you want and it'll work. That being said, I don't feel Marvin is in a pick a button category simply because he has cooldowns. A lot of his abilities have cooldowns, which means if you're just spamming and picking random buttons, you're gonna have your ability then change into something different. This effectively means your character is now a different character until your abilities come up. So because of that, because of his cooldowns on his abilities, even though they're relatively low, I'm gonna put him at 1 + 1 = 2 because you do have to make sure that you are using your abilities in tandem. You're gonna need to put two abilities together because if one is on cooldown and one's not on cooldown, you're not gonna be as effective with Marvin as you would be if you would wait for your cooldowns. That being said, he is in front of Jason because you don't need to do that. But again, if you wanna be more effective, you are gonna have to keep track of this stuff. All right, next up we have Gizmo. Now y'all, if y'all seen my Gizmo stream, now I was clapping cheeks. I was doing that. Gizmo's great. I really love this character and easily one of my favorite characters in the game. He is one of those characters that are quirky and weird and just you don't even know what to expect from this character. He's so strange. He's also very small, so his hitbox is tinier. He also has a lot of weird like limb things, stretchy things going on. It's very weird. If you play it against one, you'll know that it's kind of hard to know what he's gonna do because the animations are very funky when it comes to Gizmo. That being said, he has a lot of potential to make stuff happen. He's very creative and he's got a great mix-up game. He's just a great character, but you do not need to do any of that to succeed with this character. And so I'm gonna put him at pick a button. Almost everything that he does is great and it's very intuitive. It's very easy to make some of this stuff happen because you don't really need to focus on a lot. Yes, you know, he does have a lot of like the car, the popcorn, to shoot the arrow through the popcorn. You have a lot of this extra crazy stuff, but it's not mandatory. His up air hits twice. So if you dodge the first punch, you're getting smacked by the second punch. If you dodge the second punch, you're getting smacked by the first punch. His hitboxes are huge. You don't really miss a lot of what you're going for. He has a way to deflect things. He has a way to throw things. Like the character is very, very good and you don't need to play him as intended to be good at that character. He is a great mage character just like the Joker. However, he's a little bit more complicated than the Joker and you're gonna have to take some time to get used to it. But it's not complicated as in hard, it's just weird. He's a very funky character, but I really love the character. And so if you're looking for a character like that, out of the box, strange, Gizmo's gonna be that character for sure. Great character, I love him, very good design. I also wanna mention in a 2v2 scenario, he can actually get inside of his partner, like on a little backpack, and just ride around shooting arrows. If you've ever played League of Legends, he's Yumi. If you've ever played Dota, it's Wisp. Like this character can sit on an ally and just ride around and pop arrow. It's the coolest character. I really love him. I do really love that character. The next one up is Black Adam. Ooh, okay. A lot of people think I'll be biased because I play Black Adam. I won't be. Black Adam's combos are not very intuitive. Now, obviously his 1, 2, 3 punch is great and then you know, but a lot of his abilities don't really go together properly. Like you can't just button mash and it'll work. That's one of the things about Black Adam in a 1v1 scenario. In a 2v2 scenario, he can kind of just spam the little lightning bolt thing and just like stun everybody. But the thing about Black Adam, like I said, is like you can't really just button mash, and on top of that, you have to space properly. You can't really just be anywhere and everywhere at once. You are gonna have to put your character in like certain spots because his abilities are very weird and very angled strange. That being said, I'm gonna put him at a 1 + 1 = 2. I don't think it's a pick a button because a lot of his buttons actually don't work unless you do something else preemptively or you do something after. But I definitely do think that he deserves to be in the 1 + 1 = 2, especially because, and in front of Marvin, especially because in a 2v2 scenario, you don't need to do anything and you will probably win the match. In a 1v1 scenario, you are gonna need to put two together for it to work. And so I can't put him at pick a button because of that 1v1 scenario thing. And if you decide to play Black Adam, you're gonna see what I mean about it, and you're gonna have to get used to this spacing that he has, and you're gonna have to get used to what goes with what so that it works. And that's how I think Black Adam is. I don't necessarily think he's a difficult character, but you could definitely tell a real Black Adam versus like someone playing him. It's hard to explain, but like one is way more straightforward than the other. If you're a Black Adam player, you're not gonna be predictable. You're gonna do different things and you're gonna mix them up like crazy, and they're gonna be like, what do I even do against you? If you're just a regular Black Adam player, I mean, they're gonna know. They're gonna know and they're probably gonna beat you. So I think he deserves to be in that spot. He is a great character though, and if you like lightning, I mean, come on, it's like the coolest thing. He's kind of slow and clunky, don't get me wrong, but once you start actually learning how to mix things together and really start getting your flow, he becomes a very fast character. So that's what Black Adam is, and that's where I think he deserves to be. The next character we have is Stripe. Do we even talk about this character, dude? Like, what is this character? Okay, Stripe is kind of like Gizmo in a way where he's very weird, he's very unorthodox, it's like strange. The thing is though, Stripe is not a pick a button type of character at all. He can't even be close to Gizmo, and I think he's actually behind Jason. The thing is, Stripe isn't bad per se, at least in my opinion. Stripe isn't bad, but you are gonna have to be creative. He's kind of like Black Adam. You can tell a real Stripe versus like a regular one. A real Stripe will make it so you don't know what's gonna happen next and you're kind of afraid to approach the character. A regular Stripe will be like, bro, you're gonna do this, that, and that, and then I'm just gonna beat you. And so that's the difference between like the two Stripes. That being said, in a 2v2 scenario, kind of difficult to play because just like any real assassin, it's hard to play 2v2s with assassins, period. Unless you have some sort of range thing where you don't have to be in the thick of it all the time because you get launched so easily. It's really hard to give anything on this character because you're gonna have to like this type of character. It's not something where I can be like, oh my gosh, Stripe is this character. If you love this, you'll love this character. No, it's like, watch the video, see his abilities. If you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. Stripe is like an acquired taste, you know. It's a food that not everybody likes, but maybe you will. That's what that character is like, for real. The next character that we have is Rick. My God, this character is annoying. A good Rick will make you just want to uninstall the game. I think Rick is actually a great character. I think Rick does what he needs to do well. The Rick is not on a pick a button spectrum, but also he's not. It's hard because there are some abilities that this character can do that will just work, and then there's some that most of them you do need to put in like a 1 + 1 scenario to equal 2. I think he deserves to be in front of Stripe, but not so much in front of Jason. The reason why I say he deserves to be in front of Stripe is because a lot of his stuff is really intuitive. You really don't need to think too much about how things work. You just need to know what goes with what. You know, it's not that confusing. Whereas with Stripe, it's so strange because he's so weird. And so Rick is not actually weird. He plays really well. The kid's done great. He looks cool. Awesome character. But again, you are gonna have to put that 1 + 1 = 2. He is a mage, and so a lot of what he does is very mix-up oriented. Most mages in the game are very hard to guess what they'll do next because they got so much going on with their kit. But the interesting thing about Rick is that, like, although there's good Ricks and then there's average Ricks, they kind of play the same in a way. Just one executes things a lot more efficiently than the other one does. It's not like Stripe or Black Adam where it's like you could tell a new Rick versus like a veteran Rick. It's not really like that. It's kind of indistinguishable in terms of like what they do, but it's just how it's executed. The better you are at that character, the more he gives you. He's like one of those calculator characters where it's like the better you are at math, the better the character will be for you. So if you do like a character that will reward you for how much effort you put into it, that is going to be one of the characters for you for sure. The next character we have is Morty. Bro, get this character out of here. No, for real. All right, Morty doesn't deserve to be in the bro category. He doesn't. I mean, bro. Bro, okay. Jesus. With Morty, it's hard because if you know what Morty does, a lot of people might not, because if you don't have the character, you don't know what he does. But like, if you know what Morty does, you know what Morty is capable of, right? And so I think it's unfair to put him at bro, considering you know all this man's options. That being said, I do want to say that Morty is kind of in the same category as Gizmo and Joker, where you don't necessarily need to play them optimally for them to work because they're that good of a character. He has a lot of instances where you do put a 1 + 1 = 2, and a lot of those are really nice, but you don't need to do it, and it's not that hard when you do it. You can kind of just button mash it. And so I do think that Morty is like, he's a great character. Dude, this character is great. You can go with the flow with this character and it'll work. I definitely think he deserves to be at pick a button, but he's kind of in between pick a button and 1 + 1 = 2. So it's kind of like in between that, but I would put him more towards a pick a button for sure. Whether he wants to play for zoning or he wants to play all up in your face, he has a lot of options and he can do pretty much whatever he wants to do. And Morty is a great character if you want someone like that, someone with multiple options. The next character that we have is LeBron. LeBron James. LeBron James? Can you even talk about this character without saying that? So the next character that we have is LeBron James. All right, so LeBron James is one of those characters that aren't really a character if they don't have a basketball. I don't really know. I can't compare a character like that right now because I can't think of one. But if he does not have that basketball, he is not a character anymore. And so when you do play this character, you're gonna have to keep that in mind. Unless you have the ability up to recall the basketball whenever you want, I wouldn't recommend just throwing the basketball. And he actually is not very intuitive on how you play him as well. He's strange. And so if you play against a good LeBron James, you're probably gonna get your cheeks clapped. No, he's very hard to play against if the player knows exactly what they're doing. But that's very far few in between. Not a lot of players know what they're doing, and even at like an above average level, the character still has a hard time shining because you are gonna have to know what you're doing, and you're gonna have to know how to not get your basketball destroyed, taken away, what have you. And so I think this character needs to be the first, needs a PhD to actually play properly. Now you might be thinking, Poppin, I play LeBron James and I go against LeBron James. He's super easy. He's super, yeah, but I don't want to lead that expectation as like he's super easy, because he's not. Like if you play against a character, in a 1v1 scenario or a 2v2 scenario, you are most likely going to beat that character. Period. He's going to lose more than he wins. You are going to have to get good at this character for him to even start shining just a little bit, and you're going to have to get great at the character for him to actually start stomping games. And so that's why I say it needs a PhD. These are the characters that like really need to have some time put into them before they do anything that you want them to do. Yes, he could work at like a really basic level, even if you have no clue what you're doing, but you're gonna lose a lot more than you win, especially in a 1v1 scenario. The next character that we have is the Iron Giant. Another tank, another very slow moving character. His hitbox is huge. I think the Iron Giant is another one of those acquired tastes of a character. I don't think you would necessarily just straight up pick this character just cause. Like there's better tanks out there. But if you like the Iron Giant, he's really good. I definitely think he's a pick a button type of character for sure. You just press something and it'll work. Doesn't really need to do anything crazy. That's just how he's designed, in my opinion. And it's not like it's a bad thing. It's not like, oh my God, Iron Giant is just straight up super easy and blah, blah, blah. That's not really what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that he functions and serves his purpose as he's supposed to. It's not necessarily something where you got to wiggle in and out to figure out what he does and how to play optimally. And no, have fun, have a good time, take him in there, start button pressing. You'll pick something, it'll work out for you. Are there good Iron Giant players? Definitely. But if you purchase them at a basic level and you just want a character that soaks up a lot of damage, a character that just helps his team, a character with a lot of presence on the map, this character is for you for sure. but he is kind of like an acquired taste, just like Stripe. You're not really gonna like him unless you like him, period. Again, I'd recommend going to that link down below and just check out his abilities for yourself before you make that purchase, just so you know what he does. The next character that we have is Taz. Taz, oh boy. Okay, Taz, I like Taz. Now, I like Taz. They did such a great job, like, making Taz in this game. You would think, like, Taz is so basic, Taz is so this, like, what does Taz do? But if you've ever watched any cartoons with Taz in there, like, that's Taz. Like, Taz is Taz. Like, they did a really, really, really good job with this character. And he has a little bit of a skill expression as well when it comes to, like, capturing projectiles and launching them back. Character's great. I don't think this character is that difficult to play. And the character functions well by just pressing a button, in my opinion. You just press a button, whatever button you pick, it'll work. And it's very intuitive. You already know what does what. He's very straightforward. His KO potential is not on point with the banana guard. He's not broken. But the character itself is like really, really great. So again, pretty much Taz is just great at what he does, and his abilities are very straightforward. You press the button works. Boom, job done. If you like Taz as a character, if you just want a bruiser that just doesn't have much in his kit and is very straightforward, but also has a lot more wiggle room than Banana Guard in terms of how to play, much more creativity and diversity in his kit, then Taz will be for you for sure. The next character that we have up is Velma. Now, if you haven't seen, I was streaming earlier today. I was streaming some Velma, and yes, we was clapping those cheeks. And Velma has a lot of hate right now. One of the main reasons is because she's different than how she was before. Obviously, this was a balance change. It wasn't play your first games like, you know what, pick a character and just make it not a character anymore. Boop. That's not what happened. That's a balance change. As my experience from being a professional coach in esports, this is something that generally happens when a character gets changed, nerfed, or whatever. The community usually rises up, or at least the mains do, and say that, oh, this character is not that great. I also want to add, if a top player is saying a character is bad, that has nothing to do with lower brackets, and that has nothing to do with casual players. Keep that in mind. I just want to get all that out the way just because, you know, I wanted to give like a straight non-biased type of talk about Velma. So with Velma, a lot of her stuff isn't intuitive at all. Like literally nothing goes together. You are going to have to do things yourself. This is one of the most unintuitive characters in the game in general. That doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. But like, if you don't know how to play MultiVersus, Velma's gonna suck horribly for you. Like, if you have no clue what you're doing, if you have no clue what neutral game is, if you have no clue what edge guarding is, if you have no clue what advantage states are, disadvantage states are, DIs, if you have no clue like how platform games work, this character is not gonna work for you. And I don't know if that's the way that they wanted to go for this character. I played her before the game shut down, and it didn't feel like that to me, but I could just be forgetting. So I don't know if that's the direction that they want to go, but this is why a lot of players may find her very lackluster. A lot of the characters in the roster have abilities that just do things and they do them well, regardless of how you input the commands. Velma's kit doesn't work like that. You're gonna need to be big brain. So if they were going for that type of, you need to be big brain to play Velma, then, you know, kudos. But I do think that she might need a little bit of tweaks and adjustments, only because I just said what I said. She's only good if you're good at the game. She's only good if you're good at platform games. She's only good if you're good at fighting games. That being said, a large part of the community probably just play casually or just are new to the game in general. It just came out. And so to have a character that has that high of a skill floor is a little ridiculous. So I do think that they need to make sure that the character can function at a low level as well as a high level, because right now she only really functions if you understand how to play the game to its fullest, and that's the only character in the roster, in my opinion, that actually plays like that. So do I think Velma is like an actual bad character? I don't think she's bad at what she does. I think she just requires a lot more effort, and that's a lot of effort that people aren't ready to expend right now, especially with no ranked mode. So I'm gonna put at needs a PhD behind LeBron. LeBron is a little bit more simpler in that regard, but Velma, from the start to the end of the match, you're gonna have to understand what you can do, what you can't do, your limits, the neutral game, like I said, disadvantage, advantage, edge guard, mix-ups, cooldown. You have to understand literally the whole fighting game genre to understand how to play that character. And so that's why I think a lot of people might think that she's so lackluster and she's so bad. Once you learn how to play at a higher level when it comes to games like this, you'll realize that Velma is lackluster in terms of the roster, but she's not bad like unplayable. She's just weaker than the other characters right now. But that's every fighting game. There's always weaker characters in every single game that there ever is, because not every character can be balanced. That's impossible. There's going to be characters here, here, and here. That being said, multiple people won championships with characters that are lackluster. It doesn't matter, especially if you're not even a top tier player. That being said, she requires a ton of work to make work. So that's why I think she deserves to be in that category of needs a PhD. She requires a ton of game knowledge for this character to pop off. The next character that we have is Arya. Oh, Lord. Arya. Ooh. Okay. Arya. So me and Arya got a love-hate relationship. Arya was the first character that I ever played in MultiVersus, and I wanted to get really, really good at her. And Arya is one of those characters that are very lenient in how you play. You can kind of do whatever you want, and Arya will function properly. The problem with Arya is that her KO potential is not high. You are going to need to do some work to make sure that she actually can KO a target. Otherwise, you're going to have them racking up more numbers and not really securing the stock. That being said, she's very skill expressive. She's kind of like Rick in the way of the more you put into Arya, the more Arya will give you in game. So I definitely think she deserves to be in 1 + 1 = 2, because you're not going to play this character by just pressing a button and it working at all. You are going to have to actually understand what goes with what and puts it together. But I think she honestly has a harder time doing that than all the characters that we see lined up here, because a lot of it has a potential to miss or get her stuck, or a lot of it is not really intuitive other than the obviously special up into, you know, up air. Okay, whoop-de-doo. But like the other stuff is a little bit more unintuitive, and you are gonna have to put some time and effort into her before she realistically can start shining for you. The next character that we have is Batman, bro. Okay, Batman's not in the bro category, but if I were to just be biased right now, I'd put him in the bro category. Batman is definitely in the pick a button category though. Bro, this character, you press any button, it works. It don't even matter. You don't even have to know what you're doing, and this character will do it for you. That's how good Batman is right now. Again, does that mean there's not good Batmans? No, there's definitely good Batmans. I've seen them. But does that mean that this character is not a pick a button character? No, you buy this character. Start pressing buttons. I promise you they're gonna hit, and I promise you the opponent's not gonna know what to do. Batman. Marvin is so pick a button. It's insane. It's actually insane, but he's a fun character. So if you like Batman, of course, dude, he's depicted great. Everything that you see in the show, movies, whatever, he does it. It's literally Batman, tool for everything. But he is a pick a button character. It's hilarious too, because like, if you ever watch someone go against Batman, because he's one of those characters that you always will see someone struggling against. It is very hard to know what Batman does, because Batman doesn't have one of those buttons that are like bad. Everything he does is good, and so you have to watch out for everything in this man's kit. Great character though. He's depicted really well. Next character that we have is Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny's mage. Bugs Bunny is very loony. One thing about Bugs Bunny is he kind of does the same thing, where he has like disjointed hitboxes and delayed abilities and whatnot. And when I say disjointed, that might not actually be the most accurate of words. Everything that he does is very exaggerated, and obviously he's a Looney Tunes character. He's meant to be like that. That's how cartoons are. But that is something to always think about when you're playing against them. And I notice a lot of the times you'll be in a position where people won't pay attention to that, and you get a lot of lucky hits because it's delayed or it's very stretchy. I also think a lot of what he does is very intuitive. That being said, I definitely think he deserves to be in a pick a button category, and I think it's above Joker. The thing about him is you don't actually need to play him properly for him to work. He has a lot of nuances, and he's actually a really, really, really cool character to see someone skilled play, because he has so much potential. But you don't need to do any of that for him to work. He's very free-flowing. You can do kind of anything and it'll work, and obviously any button that you press will work. It's again further exacerbated in a 2v2 scenario because he's very chaotic, and in a 2v2 environment, it's already chaotic. Very, very good character, very cool character. Highly recommend if you want to have a character that's very creative. If you want to have a character that is It's not necessarily a character that the better you get at him, the more you get out of him. It's more of the better you get out of him, the cooler and crazier he looks. If you want a character that looks better based off how good you play the character, play bugs. Anyone that plays against the bugs that knows what they're doing are going to be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing. You could do that? That's how this character makes you feel when you go against one better than the last. It is so crazy. It's a great character, for real. Next character that we have is Finn. Bro, look, bro. Speed boost, defense, BMO? I mean, come on. Nah, in all seriousness, this character, he's an assassin and everything he does is free. His KO potential is great. His hitboxes are great. He doesn't really have many frames where he gets locked out. His recovery is amazing. He can do what he wants to do. It's very hard to like get him off of you if he's on top of you. He's just a good character. He can walk around and charge things to get you to get KO'd. Like, he's a great character. Definitely a bro category. Like, bro, play this character, you'll win. No, bro, don't even have to do anything. Just take the win. Take the W. Next character that we have is Garnet. Garnet's interesting. The thing about Garnet is she's very straightforward. Like, there's not really much nuance to this person's kit. Really, it's just her. Like, it's very straightforward. You could get creative if you want, but it's kind of unfair to say that you need to do any of that to make it work, because you don't. I definitely think she's just kind of in the pick a button category, similar to Taz, where it's like, if you want a character that's just kind of straightforward, if you want a character that has some nuance where you can do something strange for a little piece of change, I think Garnet is definitely that character. But you don't have to, and a lot of how you play her is going to be very simplistic and really just focus more on MultiVersus as a whole rather than having to focus on how to pilot the character. Also, a lot of her recovery options are very hard to punish. So let's just say you get knocked off the map and you do an up special. She's going to do a move where like she can hit you while she's recovering. A lot of her moves are character hitbox focused, which means that almost everything that she does, she can kind of hit you with a part of the body that you wouldn't expect. Like, the whole body is basically what she's going to use to hurt you. And I think that's a really cool character, especially because she's very forgiving in that regard. Should you whiff anything, or, you know, you'll hit them with something at least when you do the ability. Next we have Harley Quinn. Bro. All right. This whole game has Harley Quinn mains like all over. People love Harley Quinn. Okay, here's the thing with Harley. Harley has like the easiest combo game in the game. You don't need to do anything and it is a combo, or it leads into a combo. She also has a lot of tools to get in. She has a lot of tools to keep people out. Her KO attacks, she can charge them, she can delay it. And when you're charging it, it delays it, so it's very hard to know when to dodge it. On top of that, when she lets go of it, whether it's the overhead or the underhand, it literally is so fast. You have to know that it's coming, or you just have to have really good reaction times to actually dodge it. It's a lot easier to dodge it if they don't know what they're doing, but if they are a Harley Quinn player that knows what they're doing, it's very hard to gauge when you need to dodge it, because they'll delay it on purpose. So you factor in all that, the easy combo game, the delayed abilities, the ability to do whatever you really want to. Like, the character is good. The dash attack is a combo, the down special is a combo, the up air is a combo. Like, everything is a 2 to 3 hit thing, and then all you gotta do is put them together and it works. She's definitely a bro character in my opinion. Like, bro, anytime you see a Harley Quinn player, you might think they know what they're doing. I'm telling you right now, the character is just set up that way. That does not mean there's not good Harley Quinn players. I don't want to see in the comments, well, no, because you can do good with Harley Quinn. No, okay, you can do whatever and the character will work. But there are good Harley Quinn players. That's how it goes for every game though. Every fighting game, there's going to be characters that you don't need to work hard on to make stuff happen. However, once you see a player that actually knows what they're doing on that character, it gets nasty. Harley Quinn is that character. You don't really need to know what you're doing and she'll work. She's fast, she's good, she's amazing. I don't even have anything else to say about that character. She's definitely in the bro category for me. Next we have is Jake. My God, okay. Me and Jake, we don't see eye to eye, like literally extremely goofy movie style. So the problem with Jake for me is that he's so weird. He's like the, is it Elisa? Is that how you say her name from Tekken? I always get that name messed up. But it's like her, for Street Fighter, it's like, is it Dawson? Like, bro, this character is so straight. They don't play MultiVersus, they play Jake. That's how this character is. And so that's why I hate this character. Everything they do is weird. It's such a kooky character. That being said, it's not a bad character, but they're not intuitive. You are gonna have to learn how to play Jake. They are not playing MultiVersus. One of the common mistakes that I usually see in this game, I guess in any fighting game, but in this game in particular, because it's so beginner friendly, most players will play one character the same as they play all the other characters. And so this is why some players may feel like Jake might not be great, Velma might not be great, Rick might not be great, Gizmo might not be great, Taz might not be great. Like, there's a lot of characters in this game that if you don't play them how they are specifically designed to be played, they won't function properly. Jake is like the poster child for that. You cannot play this character and expect results like you would play Batman. I promise you it's not gonna work. And so that is why, in my opinion, he deserves to be at the back of 1 + 1 = 2. Not only do you have to know which abilities go with which abilities, but you're also gonna have to focus on how to actually play Jake. He is so weird. It's well designed, don't get me wrong. Like, the character is great. The character has a lot of depictions from the show. Like, it's actually amazing how they did this character, but he's a weird character. And so if you like I said, like if you like Dalsum, or if you like Elisa, or I'm trying to think of other games where like the characters are not actually, they're like game breaking. They're not actually from the game. They're like from a whole different universe. Jake is the character for you for sure. He is so good when you know how to play Jake, but I promise you, if you play Jake like any other character in that roster, you're gonna think he sucks. The next character we have is Reindog. Reindog was like my first true main. Reindog. Okay, well, I don't really have much to say about Reindog. He's hard in the sense of he's not straightforward. Like, you're gonna play him and be like, what does this character even do? Like, what? He's not straightforward at all. And even once you get used to him and once you get good at him, he's still not straightforward. It's very weird. It's like a lot of his abilities just don't go together. This is the only character in their game that is a player first type of character, meaning that they just designed this character for fun. It was one of their first, it isn't from a show or anything. It's their own design. That could be why it feels how it feels to play Reindog. But basically, if I could just explain what it is, it's like he has a whole bunch of things that don't really go together. His up special doesn't really, it's weird. I'm telling you, it's very hard to explain and put this in words, but if I were to say it, it's like his abilities just don't go together. It's like one ability is from a different character and they just put all those abilities together and design Reindog. That's how it feels. Is he a bad character? No, but he's very quirky. He's not Jake quirky. Like, he's not Jake, but I'm actually gonna put him at needs a PhD. Look, he's between +1 and PhD. The thing is, if you don't know how to play Reindog, you are not gonna win. I promise you anything. If you don't know what you're doing, you will lose your game. He's not hard, like I said, not difficult, but you're not gonna win. Promise. I promise you, you're not gonna win no matter what. That's the type of character Reindog is. Let's talk about Shaggy. Bro, you think that, bro, okay, look, let's dissect Shaggy, shall we? Shaggy is so, like, bro, the KO potential on this character, the spam ability on this character, like, what? A lot of the fact that you have a perk that like lets you charge faster if you eat a sandwich, bro, you just run away, sit there way high in the corner, you have a risk of being KO'd, but most of the time the roster can't reach you. Charge up, punch somebody a few times, special, they're gone. Like, what? And if you put him in a 2v2 scenario, bro, he just spams. Like, Shaggy, there are good Shaggys, don't get me wrong, but even with a good Shaggy, it's still nonsense. Like, at least with these three characters, when you run into a good one, it's not that bad because you know it's a good one. With Shaggy, you can't tell a good Shaggy from a bad Shaggy because they all do the same exact thing. Even if you try to mix in some other stuff, it's just like, why do anything else other than the typical sidekick or the punch into the sky or Like, the KO potential is ridiculous. On top of that, his startup is very slow to everything. Everything is delayed. You can't really time things unless you get a feel for Shaggy and how his stuff comes out. Like, bro, this character, this is one of those characters that you don't play against him how you play against all the other MultiVersus cast. This character, you need to specifically learn how to play against Shaggy to beat a Shaggy. That's how Shaggy is. And just because of that, I'm going to put Shaggy in front of Banana Guard. That's not to say there's not good Shaggys. Don't get me wrong. But I'm telling you right now, if you look at a good Shaggy gameplay and just an average Shaggy gameplay, I'm promising you, you probably aren't going to see much of a difference because that's how his kit is designed. It's such a crazy kit that rewards too many possibilities. I think that in order to make this character like better, they have to figure out a way to not reward everything that he does, but also not make it so easy to do everything. It's very hard. That character, I will say the Banana Guard is easier to execute than Shaggy, but the thing about Shaggy is you get a lot of free wins just because you have to, it's a skill check. You literally have to play against someone who knows how to play against Shaggy, period. If you don't know how to play against Shaggy, you're not gonna win. Even if you know how to play MultiVersus, you have to know how to play against a Shaggy. If you don't, you're taking that L for sure. Next character that we have is Steven Universe. This character is great. I don't really have much to say about this character. He's nothing special. You know what I mean? Like, he's very unique. I don't want to say he's nothing special. I just want to say he has no flair. Like, he's not a character that has a lot of flair, and a lot of the flair that he does have will come from how good the player is in general. But like, if you were to pick up Steven Universe and just like play the character, I promise you, you might not see a lot in front of you. But when you watch someone play Steven Universe, then you're gonna start seeing like, oh my God, this character is crazy. So I definitely think that he deserves to be in the 1 + 1 = 2. But I don't think he needs to be in the Jake category. Actually, I think he could be a little bit higher. We'll put him in front of Jake. The reason being is because not all of his moves actually go together. You are gonna need to figure out which two type of moves go together. You are gonna, like, the moves are very simple. Don't get me wrong, they're not complicated, but again, they're just kind of unintuitive. You don't really know what best goes with what. I think they all go together pretty okay, but there are definitely better like combinations. As an example, if you put the perk on to let your shield do more damage, well, you're gonna need to figure out how to get the person to land into the shield and then make a combo out of the shield. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's not like it's hard to play Steven, but you are gonna need to be a good player to make the most out of Steven. So that's why I want to put him there. Now, you might be thinking in Reindog's case, well, you just said that about Reindog. The thing is, Steven Universe, whatever he does, it's useful. But with Reindog, it's like not everything that he does is useful. He has a few like attacks that are great, but for the most part, if you don't know what you're doing, you're taking an L. At least with Steven, if you don't know what you're doing, you probably are still going to be able to do something during your matches. The next character that we have is Superman. Now, Superman's kind of funny, because Superman doesn't really have a lot going for him. A very good tank, very solid tank, but he is very clunky. You are gonna get locked up a lot. And so if you do expect to play a more fluid character, this guy might not be it for you. That being said, I wanna say pick a button. The thing is, his combos are very unintuitive, but he doesn't actually need to do combos to work. So he's like a special case. Most of the roster, if not almost all the roster, needs to like do a combo of some sort to work out, mostly. But Superman doesn't really need to do anything, and the button will work. All these other characters, don't get me wrong, are pick a button characters. They work, but like, you're probably gonna mix it into something else to make it a little bit more spicy. Superman doesn't have to do any of that, and it'll work. He's just very basic. He's just a straightforward character. If you buy Superman though, just know you're gonna be clunky. He is a very clunky character. Once you get used to it, you'll be okay, but he is very clunky. The next character that we have is Tom and Jerry. I love Tom and Jerry. If you guys didn't see the stream before, I also played some Tom and Jerry. I'm just gonna say right now, it needs a PhD. I'm not even gonna talk too much about Tom and Jerry. The character needs a PhD, man. Like, bro, let's be real. We gonna put him in front of Velma, but let's be real. Like, He does work without doing things, but you're probably going to lose more than you win unless you know what you're doing and how to do it. Especially when you lose Jerry, because Jerry can be KO'd. If you lose Jerry and you leave Tom by himself, he's not even a character anymore. So like that's a really big thing to think about, and you're going to need to understand how to play MultiVersus to even have this character be functional for you. Again, not too much to say about that character. It is like when you play it or when you see it, you'll know what I mean. It's that easy to tell. He's one of those characters. The next character that we have is Wonder Woman. Bro, okay. Bro, ooh, it's hard. All right. Y'all gonna have to let me know in the comments. If you made it this far into the video, or if you are watching this, let me know in the comments what you think about Wonder Woman. It is a very hard thing between bro and freaking pick a button. Her pick a button is great. But if you didn't notice, there's a lot of abilities that makes Wonder Woman hard to hit, whether it be because her hitbox is small, such as her combo when she goes low, or the fact that she like has a big shield that just blocks things and like gets super armor. And you know what? I'm just gonna put her in bro. I'm gonna put her in bro. Bro, Wonder Woman is so like good. Her neutral air is just ridiculous. Her combo is like a vortex. A lot of combos in this game aren't vortexes, and when I say that, it doesn't pull you towards the character. Wonder Woman sucks you in when she does her combo. Maybe it's lag, I don't know, but it feels like it every single time when I get comboed by this character. Her KO potential is very high. Her hitboxes are huge. It is easy to land a hit on whatever you need to hit because it's huge. Everything is just so big. The only thing that's small is her dare, her down air. But that's really easy to hit too, especially because it's kind of like in a her body positions in a way where it's like a T pose. So if you can just lock the T part down, you're good to go. I don't even know what to say. In 2v2s, she's disgusting. Like, it's a very good character to play, very strong character. No matter what you do, you'll probably be successful with her right now. And on top of that, she's a tank. So she's like a tank mixed with being a fighter and like an assassin with the freedom to do whatever she wants to do. It's a very, very strong character. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put her behind the banana guard. Nah, I'm gonna put her in front of the banana guard. The reason being is because her 1v1 potential is actually really good. Like, she doesn't fall short in a 1v1. The banana guard does, because he's very easy to like predict and whatnot. But when it comes to, actually, let me just go ahead and put him in the back. I didn't factor that in. When it comes to 1v1 scenario, the banana guard becomes easier to play against. But the thing is, he'll still launch you if you just mess up. You just can't mess up against that character. But these characters in a 1v1 scenario and a 2v2 scenario function the same, and it's very hard to deal with regardless of which form of mode you're playing in. And like I said, the fact that she's just very hard to KO in general, she takes a lot of damage. She soaks up a lot of damage with her shield. She gives herself armor. A lot of her stuff is hard to punish. Her hitboxes change. It's a crazy character. So if you're looking for a tank that's more of a fighter, that's a great way to transition yourself into a bruiser. That is a great pick for you for sure. That is the list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions about any characters, let me know down in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer them and give you more information. I just didn't want to make this video too long, and I hoped I helped you out. Also, make sure you subscribe. It's very important, so that way you're notified for the next tier list that's coming after ranked. If you want to get serious about climbing up that rank, that is going to be the video for you, because I'm going to explain which characters are actually the best characters to climb with, at least in season 1. Until next time, you know what I always say. Think you guys are doing what? Happen often. Will often.